What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm giving myself 15 minutes to do this entire video for you guys. First, I want to say thank you for getting me to 63K. I really appreciate it. I will announce the winner of the shirt in my next video, and I would also like to thank everybody for watching my breakdown of every team for the NCAA tournament. It wasn't perfect, but I thought I covered at least every team pretty decently, and I just really appreciate everybody's support on the video. Now, since Sunday, I have been thinking about my picks the entire time. I haven't been able to record the video because every time I'm about to record, I change my mind on something. However, I've really sat down, at least over the past couple of hours, and thought it all through, read all over my notes that I've taken throughout the entire season, and I'm ready to officially fill out my final bracket for the 2021 NCAA tournament. It's just for fun. This is just what I think will happen. Obviously, it's not going to happen. However, I think that I've done a pretty good job researching everything, and I think it's interesting to look at like what I think will happen based on that. So, not going to waste your guys' time anymore. Let's just jump right into this bracket. Now, I'm going to start out with the West region because I just want to do that one first. That's how I want to do my breakdown. So let's just kick it off, man. I've got Gonzaga I have Norfolk State winning that game. I have Gonzaga beating them. That's just a pretty obvious pick. Then Missouri and Oklahoma. I'm going to go with Missouri. Creighton and UC Santa Barbara. I have Creighton. Virginia and Ohio, I have Ohio. USC, Wichita State and Drake, I would have Wichita State winning, and then I would have USC winning. Kansas and Eastern Washington, I have Kansas. Oregon VCU, I have Oregon. Iowa and Grand Canyon, I have Iowa. Then Gonzaga, Missouri, I would have Gonzaga. Creighton and Ohio, I would have Creighton. USC and Kansas, I have USC. Oregon and Iowa, I have Iowa. And then Gonzaga and Creighton, I have Gonzaga. And then Iowa and USC, I have Iowa. And then getting to the Final Four, you know what? Let's just announce it now. I have Gonzaga. So let's just break down the entire region really quick. I think that Missouri's guard play and veteran leadership and the way they've been playing, I like them over Oklahoma. Creighton, I still believe in them. I'm not super high on UC Santa Barbara. I could be wrong. However, I still really trust the guards at Creighton. Virginia and Ohio. Jason Preston, I told myself whoever they were playing, I'm picking. And it's funny because Virginia is the team that I rode ride or die, baby, 2019. That was such a fun run. I love that team a lot. And it's funny that the next time I'm filling out a bracket, I have them losing their first game. That's just how March Madness works. And then USC over Wichita State. I think that's kind of obvious, at least in my opinion. I'm going to go with Evan Mobley. I don't love this USC team. However, I think that they got a good pull, and they're lucky to get a Kansas team that I think is dealing with a lot of issues. I don't even know if they could possibly win their first game. They've got COVID problems, but I still have Kansas at least winning that one. I don't have them going too far because I don't trust just how things are going to work out. It's been very shaky for them. Oregon and VCU, I actually think it's a good matchup for Oregon. I like their guard play a lot, and I think that they'll be able to handle the pressure that VCU puts on them. And then Iowa, I actually think that's a very sneaky matchup with Grand Canyon, but I'm going to roll with the Hawkeyes. And then I have Gonzaga beating Missouri. I have Creighton beating Ohio because I think that Zagorowski, Balak, and Mahoney will be able to like slow down or at least keep up with Ohio's offense. Love Ohio, but I think that Creighton has good guard play as well. USC and Kansas, I have USC beating Kansas just because I'm not too sure about Kansas. Then Oregon and Iowa, which I think would be a fantastic game to watch. I think that the one thing that Oregon struggles with is containing guys down low, and I think that Luka Garza will be able to eat them up down there. Then Gonzaga and Creighton, I have Gonzaga beating Creighton because I really trust this Gonzaga team. And then I also really trust Iowa, so I have them beating USC. And I actually think this is like the one Elite Eight matchup that I just have a hard time not expecting. And I'm going to roll with Gonzaga. I think that this team is just really balanced, and I like the way they are playing to end the season. Okay, moving down to the East. Let's start out with Michigan. I have them advancing. LSU and St. Bonaventure, I actually have LSU. Colorado and Georgetown, I have Colorado. Florida State and UNC Greensboro, I have Florida State. BYU, Michigan State, UCLA, I would have Michigan State winning. And I also have Michigan State beating BYU. Texas over Abilene Christian, I have Texas. UConn and Maryland, I have UConn. Alabama and Iona, I have Alabama. Then Michigan, LSU. This one took me a long time to figure out. However, I have Michigan. Colorado and Florida State, I have Florida State. Michigan State and Texas, I have Texas. And UConn and Alabama, I have UConn. And then for the Elite Eight spots, I have Florida State. I know, I'm going crazy, guys. I still can't even make up my mind, but I have to follow what I wrote down. I have Florida State beating Michigan, and I'll explain why in a second. And then I have Texas beating UConn. Then to get to the Final Four, I have Texas. Now, why do I have Texas getting to the Final Four? Well, they've dealt with a lot of COVID pauses this season, and I really trust their guard play, and they've also played really well in tournament-style settings. So I got to give them props for that. They have 2 bigs that are NBA prospects and are definitely going to be first-round picks. And then I really love their backcourt with Ramey, Coleman, and Andrew Jones. I also think they're really tough. Andrew Jones, for example, he was taking chemo and he was playing, at least practicing with Texas. I just think that, and their guards are like a little crazy, so I kind of like that. I also think that Shaka Smart and his hair, it's hard not to go with that. For some reason, it's good luck. I don't understand this Texas team. I did say that whatever they did during the season, they were probably going to do the opposite of what I predict. And, lo and behold, they're just the one team that I trust the most out of this region. That's why I have them advancing. Florida State, I like them. I don't love them. I don't think this is the Final Four team Leonard Hamilton, that I would have expected. I think last year would have been. I don't trust how they turn the ball over with their guards, but I do think they can get past Michigan because they have a lot of size. And then I like UConn over Alabama, surprisingly, because I think that they can rebound the ball. They can keep up with an Alabama. And I really don't love this Alabama team. I've said it. I don't love them. They worry me so many times during games. They can get down. Now they can definitely get themselves back into a game. But I think that Dan Hurley, playing against somebody that he knew for such a long time, and Alabama coach Nate Oates, I just trust the Huskies there with James Bouknight playing, RJ Cole playing. I just trust their guards and their bigs. What else do I have to mention? Okay, Colorado, I like them over Georgetown. I don't love them, but I just think that was a good matchup for them. I think they can definitely get past Georgetown. LSU, this was a tough pick. LSU and Michigan, I debated that one for a long time, but I'm just going to trust Michigan. I still really like this Michigan team. I love their guards, their veterans. All of them are, Eli Brooks, Mike Smith, Sean D. Brown, all seniors. And then I even like some younger guys like Franz. He's a NBA prospect, and then Hunter Dickinson down low. As long as they feed him, I actually think they have a good chance to at least get to the Sweet 16. But I do think that Florida State has a lot of size that can keep up with Michigan. Texas has a very tough matchup with Abilene Christian. However, I think that, again, they just have way too much, talent to not get past them. And I think that Maryland can actually present a lot of problems for UConn, but I'm going to trust the Huskies. So I think I mentioned everything in this region so far, so I think we're good to move on. Obviously, I've got the left side figured out. We've got Gonzaga and Texas in the Final Four. Let's move on to the top. I have Baylor beating Hartford. That one's pretty simple. North Carolina, I have them beating Wisconsin. Villanova over Winthrop. I have Winthrop, actually. Purdue, North Texas, I have Purdue. Texas Tech and Utah State, I have Utah State. Arkansas, Colgate, I have Arkansas. Florida and Virginia Tech, I have Virginia Tech. And then Ohio State and Oral Roberts, I have Ohio State. Baylor, North Carolina, I have Baylor. Purdue, Winthrop, I have Purdue. Utah State and Arkansas, I have Arkansas. And then Virginia Tech and Ohio State, I have Ohio State. Then I have Baylor over Purdue and Arkansas over Ohio State. And getting to the Final Four, I have Baylor. Okay, let's start from the top. I love this Baylor team. I think that they're going to defend better. I really hope they do. I really hope, I'm banking on them being able to fix their defensive problems because they've been a major concern. And I will say this, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I considered picking North Carolina to beat Baylor because North Carolina, they play in transition. That was something that Baylor has struggled with at the end of the season, is stopping teams in transition. I also think that North Carolina, they're one of the top rebounding teams in college basketball. That's another red flag for Baylor. However, when you have 3 NBA level guards, in my opinion, and Maceo Teague, Davion Mitchell, and obviously Jared Butler, then a Matthew Meyer, who is a good NBA draft prospect, and Mark Vital down low, who is just a rock down there, it's hard not to trust them. So I at least have them getting to the Final Four. And I do think Purdue presents a lot of matchup problems because, Purdue's fans will show up to this tournament. They haven't been able to watch their team all year, and they're going to show out for them. And I think Purdue is a very good young team. I think they're a year away. That's what I'm banking on. This is my region of just banking on stuff to happen later down the road. So I also have Utah State beating Texas Tech. That was a surprise upset, but I think that the way Utah State rebounds at both ends, I think that will be a huge matchup nightmare for Texas Tech. That's the one thing that I've thought that Texas Tech would struggle with, is a team that would really, push the glass, and I think that that's what Utah State would do. And then I also have Arkansas beating Colgate. I know a lot of people want to pick Colgate, but I think that Arkansas, the way they play, actually matches up perfectly with what Colgate wants to run. Colgate wants to get up and down, so does Arkansas. So I think that it will be a fun game. However, I just trust the talent at Arkansas. I like Virginia Tech over Florida. That's a tough one, but I'm going to go with the Hokies. And then I have Ohio State beating Oral Roberts. That could be a great game. And then Winthrop, I have them beating Villanova. I just trust this Winthrop team. They've played some good talent in the non-conference, and they just have looked absolutely dominant. They're probably one of the most dominant mid-majors that I've seen this year. And then, Arkansas getting to the Sweet 16, playing Ohio State. I like them beating Utah State, obviously, and then same with Ohio State beating Virginia Tech. And Arkansas getting to the Elite Eight. That's my little Cinderella team. I actually think that this Arkansas team reminds me a lot of the 2019 Texas Tech team in a way. They have a lottery pick in Moses Moody. They have a head coach that I really trust, and I think that they're actually getting really slept on in this region. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, if I didn't pick Baylor to come out of this region and I had them losing North Carolina, and then I would have had North Carolina losing to Purdue, and I would have Arkansas playing Purdue, I would have thought Arkansas would have come out of this region. However, I'm going with my heart, and my heart says Baylor, and I got to roll with them because it just wouldn't sit right with me. Even if they do lose early, it just wouldn't sit right with me. So I'm going to pick Baylor. I trust them. There's a reason I believe in them all year. Heck, I even have a picture behind me of this Baylor team because I like them that much. So I'm going to roll with them. Please, Scott Drew, don't let me down. I really, really love this team, and I don't want to be heartbroken. So make the Final Four for me. Okay, now let's move on to the final region. This one is a fun one. Illinois, in my opinion, has the toughest draw in terms of the round of 32 and then the Sweet 16. Now, I do have them beating Drexel, and then I have Loyola and Georgia Tech. Now, this was a game that I just could not decide on. I spent so long debating this one, but I'm going to roll with the Ramblers. Sister Jean is making an appearance. I think that I trust their defense, and they can win a close game. I think Georgia Tech is going to want to turn them over, and I don't think Loyola is going to turn the ball over and beat themselves, which I feel bad for Georgia Tech. This was a bad matchup for them. Tennessee, Oregon State. I have Tennessee beating Oregon State. Great story right here, Oregon State. That's insane. Them getting here. And then Oklahoma State and Liberty. I have Oklahoma State. I'm already getting ahead of myself. I'm already breaking down the teams. I just need to get my picks. Sorry about that. San Diego State and Syracuse. I have Syracuse. Again, this is what happens when you just do a live tape, because I've actually tried to record this video 3 times and my voice is shot. So I'm just doing it, I'm doing it free flowing here. So Syracuse beating San Diego State, West Virginia beating Morehead State, Rutgers beating Clemson, and Houston beating Cleveland State. And then Illinois beating Loyola, Oklahoma State beating Tennessee, West Virginia beating Syracuse, and then finally Houston beating Rutgers. And then Illinois beating Oklahoma State, and then West Virginia beating Houston. And to get to the Final Four, I have Illinois getting to the Final Four. Okay, let's break this all down real quick. Like I already mentioned the Loyola game. I think that Oregon State's a great story, but I really trust Tennessee. They've got a lot of young talent. I think that they can at least survive that game. Oklahoma State against Liberty. This is a scary matchup for Oklahoma State. However, I think they have a lot of good size. They play in transition. If Liberty can really slow them down and they hit all their threes, they're going to win. But I just don't see that happening. And when you have Cade, anything can happen for Oklahoma State. And they are a team that just doesn't panic, so I don't expect them to freak out if they do get down somehow. San Diego State and Syracuse, I'm just going to ride with Buddy Boeheim's been playing outstanding, and I just think that zone creates matchup problems. I know a lot of people are high on the San Diego State team. I've seen them play a couple times. I wasn't really that impressed. Sorry, San Diego State fans, just my honest opinion. When you're a really good defensive team, in Syracuse, even though they're not a good defensive team, that zone always creates problems. So I'm just going to roll with the Qs. West Virginia and Morehead State, I like West Virginia in this game. Rutgers and Clemson, this is going to be a dogfight. Whoever gets to 40 points will win this game, and I'm going to roll with Rutgers because I trusted them more in the preseason. Even though Clemson has a lot of great wins, I'm just going to roll with Rutgers. And then Houston over Cleveland State. I like Houston. Houston's not a team that I'm in love with currently. As you can tell, I don't have them getting to the Elite Eight, but I just think that they got a good draw, so good for them. This isn't my favorite Houston team, just like, with Florida State. Like Florida State, Houston are kind of like similar in my opinion, where I think that in past years they've had a lot better teams, but I think that they've got good draws this year. So they could get to a Final Four, but I just don't trust them talent-wise. And so I have West Virginia beating Houston, obviously. And then this game right here, oh my God, Oklahoma State and Illinois. If that happens, that will be an all-time classic. I don't love this Illinois team by all means. I think that they've looked really good to end the season. However, I've seen them play a couple times and they don't really close teams out for some reason. And, that concerns me a little bit. That really does. And in tournament time, you've got to close teams out. And I think that Oklahoma State could pull off the upset. However, I'm trying to prevent, if a leak happens in my bracket, I'm trying to prevent the boat from falling into the water. So I'm going to roll with Illinois just for that. And I really want to pick Oklahoma State. I love this team, but I just think they got a rough draw. If they were in the East, I think I probably would have picked them to get to the Final Four. And then finally, I have West Virginia beating Houston because I really like their guards, and I think that they can cause some matchup problems for Houston. Houston wants to just throw the ball at the rim and then just, drive the paint and get the rebound and putbacks, and they also shoot a lot of threes. So if those start falling, they can. Houston's one of those teams, they're going to kill you or you're going to be in the game. So it's going to be, I just trust West Virginia. This isn't the toughest West Virginia team that I've ever seen, but I trust them. So I'm going to roll with them. And then obviously to get to the Final Four, I have Illinois beating West Virginia. All right, so let's get to the national championship game. Who makes it? I'm going to pick Gonzaga to beat Texas. I think that all four of these teams, real quick, are ready to stay in Indianapolis. I think that's something that I really factored into my bracket. All of them have been in pauses. All of them have been to Indianapolis except for Texas this year. Ironically, Illinois, Baylor they met up in Indianapolis. Baylor was supposed to play Gonzaga. It's just a feeling, guys. That's just how I'm going with my bracket. I just feel this happening. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But the one thing I don't want to do is sit here and make a bracket and then be like, yeah, I just don't feel that happening. And I just got to go with my guts telling me. And it's telling me that these are the four teams that are going to make the Final Four. I just think that they're able to withstand being there for a long time. So again, Gonzaga makes the national championship, and then Baylor and Illinois. This is a really tough matchup for me, but it just doesn't sit well with me not picking Baylor to get to the national championship between two teams that we wanted to see play all year. And I'm really trusting Baylor to get their defense going again. And I do believe they can. I just love their guards. So for a national championship game that I will never forget, if this happens, that would be probably maybe the best national championship I've ever seen, because it'd be between two teams that I really like. So to win it all, I would have Gonzaga beating Baylor. Yes, it pains me. It would pain me to not pick Baylor. However, I think that Gonzaga has a very good chance to at least get to the Final Four. And then I don't really trust any team from the East to be able to challenge them. So I think that Gonzaga really has a great chance to get to the national championship game. And I don't say that often about the number one overall seed, but Gonzaga, I will say that about. They have NBA talent with Suggs. They have NBA talent with Kispert. They have great big down low and Timmy. And then the guards that surround Suggs. We have a great backcourt in Niai and Nembhard. I just really like how this team is formed. I think that this is the year of the underdog, obviously, no pun intended, with Gonzaga. And I think that Mark Few is due his chance to win a national title. And I just think that a lot of things line up for them to win the national championship. And that's going to do it. I did it. I picked my bracket. It took me a long time. I'm not going to pick a final score, but I do think that if Gonzaga was to make it, this was the matchup, I would have Gonzaga winning by 5 points. I'm not going to tell you my final score just for precautions. However, there were 3 things that prevented me from getting my bracket done earlier for you guys. And those 3 things were, let's start out with number 3. Number 3 was I really wanted to make Oklahoma State a Final Four team. I just couldn't do it. I worry about them being in so many close games, but the amount of quad 1 wins they have, that was something that really impressed me, but I just couldn't ride with, not picking Illinois there. Number 2, I actually really wanted to pick LSU to get to the Elite 8. I really like their guards, but I don't love Will Wade, and I don't love this team. But they score a lot of points, but they just don't play defense, and they don't have enough size down low, in my opinion, to be able to stop Michigan or even Florida State. So that was another thing that was really screwing up my bracket. And then the number 1 overall thing that prevented me from getting this video out to you guys earlier was Baylor possibly losing before the Elite 8. So I think that, again, they could lose to a North Carolina. That'd be a matchup nightmare. But North Carolina could also lose to Wisconsin. They could also lose to a Purdue, because Purdue is going to have the home court advantage. But I do think that if they can get past both those teams, I don't think that there's going to be anything stopping them besides a Gonzaga. If they can get their defense rolling again, I think they can get to the national championship game. And that's, obviously what I'm predicting. So there we go. I did it for you guys. Took me 20 minutes. However, we got the video out. So thank you for watching. Let me know your predictions down below. I'm very curious. Thank you for watching this if you did. It's 20 minutes long, but I thought that I feel free now. I feel like a weight has been lifted from me. I don't have to think about this anymore. And whatever happens with the games, I'm very actually excited to see what happens, because I feel like I really thought all this out. And if I'm wrong, I'm very curious to see what I was wrong about and learn in the future. So there we go. Thank you guys for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate all the support. Let me know your predictions down below. What you think I'm wrong about, what you think I'm right about. Any comments, questions, concerns. If you have any questions, please let me know down below. I'm going to reply to everybody. So let me know. I really appreciate you guys watching again. So thank you. I will see you in the next video. Winner will be announced there. Peace.